Welcome to our deep dive, and today we're tackling Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh, this will be good.
We're going beyond the highlights, the goals, the trophies. We're using excerpts from a new biography to really try to understand Ronaldo as a person.
I think that's what makes it so interesting. You have this larger-than-life figure so carefully constructed,
Right.
but the book tries to get at the real person.
So that tension between public image and the private person,
Yeah.
was that something the biography itself addresses?
Oh, absolutely. From the get-go, you can sense the biographer trying to navigate access. It all seems to be filtered through his agent, Jorge Mendes.
Makes sense.
It's tough for any biographer, but especially with someone like Ronaldo.
Well, how do you even get close to the truth when it's so managed?
That's the challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
To reconcile the story someone wants to tell with what might be a less flattering reality.
I see.
So the book goes back to his childhood, Madeira.
Oh.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Because, his early life, it was worlds apart from what we see now.
Right.
Financial struggles, family issues. At one point, his mother even considered, not having him.
Wow.
It makes you think how much those early years shaped him.
You can't imagine him in that context, knowing how things turned out.
There's this quote from a journalist. They said, "In a poor village, you have no choice but to have character. If you don't, they eat you up. Either you step on them or they step on you."
Wow, that's powerful. So do you think that environment created that drive in him, that need to prove himself?
I think it definitely played a role. Even as a kid, football wasn't just a game for him.
Yeah.
It was an escape, a way to prove himself.
There's that story, I think it's in the book, about him throwing a fit as a kid because he wanted a football instead of a toy car.
Oh, yeah.
Looking back, it's almost symbolic.
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
shows that single-mindedness, that focus.
Yeah.
It's a recurring theme, that laser focus. But the book also looks at the downsides of that kind of ambition.
In what way?
Well, the constant need to prove himself, to be the best.
Okay.
It might prevent him from actually enjoying his achievements. He's always chasing the next thing.
That's almost tragic, isn't it? Like he can't turn it off.
Right. And so the question becomes, what really motivates him? Is it a love for the game itself, or is it something deeper?
Yeah, that need for validation you mentioned.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're talking about ambition and maybe some of the downsides, but even early on, was he always destined to be a superstar? Or were there, some rough edges?
Well, his talent was obvious, even as a young player. But even at 9, playing for Andorinha,
Right, his local club.
he had a reputation.
Ah.
The book describes him wanting to take all the free kicks, all the penalties, a natural leader, but one who struggled to be a team player.
He knew his potential even back then.
It seems like it.
And that confidence, it fuels him, but it also causes friction, right?
For sure.
Did that continue as he moved up?
Absolutely. When he went to Sporting Lisbon at 12, it was a huge shift.
Yeah.
Imagine leaving your family, everything you know, at that age.
The book mentions how homesick he was, crying on the phone, but always putting on a brave face.
That's resilience, that determination.
And around this time, we also get a sense of another side of him.
How so?
The book talks about his parents' parenting style, maybe being a bit too permissive.
And how that might have influenced some of his less appealing traits.
Exactly. Things like stealing snacks from teammates, skipping lunch.
It's surprising when you consider the discipline he's known for later on.
Right. So is the book suggesting a link there?
It's complex, and they don't give any definitive answers.
Okay.
But it raises the possibility that he lacked some structure, some discipline
I see.
that you might expect from a stricter upbringing.
It's definitely something to keep in mind as we go through his development. So those early years, it sounds like raw talent, ambition, but also some behavioral issues.
Exactly. But the talent was undeniable. And then you have that match against Manchester United.
That changed everything.
The one that changed everything.
It sounds like a movie, right?
It is.
This unknown kid from Portugal going up against one of the biggest clubs in the world.
It was a huge moment.
What was the atmosphere like?
Well, according to the book, he was nervous.
Make sense?
Fear, excitement, that sense of responsibility. But above all, he was determined.
Determined to make a statement.
And, he did.
You know that moment stepping onto the pitch against Manchester United? Can you imagine that pressure?
And the book says even the veterans were impressed.
What was it about his playing style that stood out even then?
You could already see glimmers, of the Ronaldo we know today. Rio Ferdinand, he described him as this lanky kid, unconventional hairstyle, but on the pitch,
Yeah.
electric. The step-overs, the tricks, the confidence. It was like he was meant to be there.
But it wasn't all flash, was it?
No, not at all.
That run he made past John O'Shea.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even Gary Neville said it was world class.
It's a statement.
Substance behind the style.
He had the talent to back it up.
Yeah.
And Ferguson, well, he knows talent.
He saw something special.
He did.
And then boom, record transfer fee, off to Manchester United.
New chapter begins.
But what was that transition like? I mean, Portugal to the Premier League?
Huge leap.
That's a big change, on and off the pitch.
He was still a teenager when he joined.
Yeah.
Imagine walking into that dressing room.
Full of stars.
Different culture, different language.
Culture clash.
Big time. The book has some funny stories from those days.
Yeah.
Pranks they'd pull, ribbing him about his locker, his insistence on the number 7 shirt.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
Classic rookie stuff, even for him.
So there was hazing.
Oh, yeah. Testing him, seeing what he was made of. Quentin Fortune remembers him doing his step-overs and all that. The veterans would just be like, come back when you've played in the World Cup.
But it was more than just fun and games.
It was about earning respect.
Fitting in.
Exactly.
Did that experience change him, would you say?
He had to adapt, for sure.
Yeah.
Roy Keane, in his book,
Yeah.
he talks about Ronaldo's vanity in those days, how long he'd spend in front of the mirror. The whole Beckham locker number 7 thing, that was a bold move.
For a young player.
But it shows that belief, that ambition.
He was making a statement.
Like he was saying, I belong here.
And it wasn't all smooth sailing, was it?
No.
I mean, on the pitch, the book mentions him struggling with diving at first.
Oh, right.
More common in Portugal, I guess.
Yeah.
But in England.
Ferguson had to have a word.
Oh,
To
really?
explain that it wouldn't fly. There's a quote, Ferguson says, every time you went down, you weren't getting the fouls because referees thought you dived and went down too easily. So Ronaldo had to adjust.
Not just a new team.
A whole new style of football.
And it wasn't just the on-the-pitch stuff, was it?
No.
Culture, language.
Yeah, the weather was different.
It must have been tough, so young, so far from home.
His mother, Dolores, would visit. And the book says she had a hard time adjusting to Manchester.
Really?
She preferred it when he dated Portuguese women.
Why?
Felt more comfortable connecting with them, I guess.
So the family was important.
That support system was huge.
It's easy to forget he's a person, right?
It is.
With emotions, with vulnerabilities.
Absolutely.
But even with all those challenges, his talent, his work ethic,
It shined through.
that's where the legendary training regime comes in.
Yeah, the extra hours, the obsession with being the best.
He wasn't satisfied with just being good.
No.
He had to be the best.
He'd stay late, practice free kicks, run up hills after everyone else had gone home.
Wow.
There's this story about him asking for more balls to practice.
Who's he asking?
The kit man, John Campbell. Campbell yells, "Where the fuck are you going?" And Ronaldo goes, "I'm going to be the best player in the world. I need to do this."
That's incredible. It's not just talent, it's that dedication.
Sets him apart.
And that started to rub off on the team.
Oh, yeah. The book describes how he changed the training culture at United. Guys like Giggs, Scholes.
Legends.
They started pushing themselves harder, trying new things, inspired by Ronaldo.
It's amazing how one player can have that kind of impact.
He wasn't just raising his game.
He was lifting the whole team.
Exactly. It speaks to his leadership.
Not always conventional, but leadership.
Right. He led by example, showing what was possible with that level of commitment. But, and the book acknowledges this,
Yeah.
it wasn't all perfect.
Okay. There was that contrast, right?
Yeah.
The generosity, like buying his mother lavish gifts, but also the arrogance, the outbursts.
It's complex.
Like fame and success brought out both sides.
There's a quote from a sports psychologist. He says, "Footballers are ordinary people with extraordinary talent." And the challenge is remaining grounded.
So true.
And it seems like Ronaldo struggled with that.
Yeah. It reminds you that even these seemingly invincible people...
They have their own struggle.
Right. There's that part in the book where he's asked if he's cried since his father died.
Oh, yeah.
It's a small detail, but it says a lot.
It does. Makes you wonder if there's a sadness underneath it all.
And then you have the fame, the global stardom.
Oh, yeah.
It really takes off during a trip to East Timor, right?
That's right.
What happened there?
He's mobbed by fans. And you can sense this realization.
Of what?
The power, the responsibility that comes with fame.
Mm.
It's a turning point.
Yeah,
He's not just a footballer anymore.
right.
He's an icon, a brand.
That's a lot of pressure.
It is.
And then comes the move to Real Madrid.
The Galactico era.
What did that even mean at the time?
In the early 2000s, Real Madrid, they had this policy, signing the biggest stars no matter the cost.
The Galacticos.
Global attention dominance.
So Ronaldo's stepping into that.
Intense.
It's not just about being a great player anymore.
No,
It's a whole different level.
absolutely.
So Real Madrid, the Galactico era, you'd think surrounded by all that talent, he'd be in his element.
Right. But Real Madrid is,
Mm-hmm.
it's a different beast.
Mm.
The pressure, the expectations. Even for Ronaldo, it wasn't easy.
What do you mean?
You have the history of the club, the media scrutiny, and then, of course, the egos.
Oh, yes.
Some of the biggest names in the game.
It's not just individual brilliance anymore.
It's about finding a way to make it all work together.
Meshing those personalities, those styles.
Exactly. And Ronaldo, used to being the focal point.
Right.
Now he has to share the spotlight with guys like Kaká, Benzema.
Mm.
Finding that balance, it wasn't always smooth.
The book mentions him snapping at Jersey Dudek after a draw. Something like, I'm not here to take fucking photos. I'm here to win games.
It shows the pressure he was under, the ambition.
He wasn't content with just being part of a star-studded team.
No, he wanted to win it all.
Yeah.
And anything less was unacceptable.
He achieved a lot, though.
He did.
But there's also the tension with Mourinho, right?
Oh, yeah.
Their personalities, it sounds like a clash waiting to happen.
Both strong personalities, both used to being in control.
So how did that play out?
Mourinho was all about tactical discipline, meticulous planning.
Oh,
Ronaldo, he thrives on freedom, on expressing himself.
a recipe for conflict.
It affected the whole team. Arguments, disagreements about tactics.
Wow.
Reports of Ronaldo refusing to celebrate goals
Really?
because he wasn't happy with the performance.
Yeah.
There's this moment, Copa del Rey match against Valencia.
Okay.
Real Madrid is winning comfortably, but Mourinho, he publicly criticizes Ronaldo.
For what?
Not tracking back defensively, a sloppy throw-in.
You can feel the tension.
Two powerful personalities clashing.
It doesn't seem sustainable.
It wasn't. Their relationship, it just deteriorated. Mourinho's assistants even said it was beyond repair.
Wow.
Ronaldo apparently saw him as the enemy, loyal only to Mourinho himself.
So who won that battle?
Mourinho ended up leaving Real Madrid. Some might say Ronaldo won, but
Yeah.
the book suggests
Yeah.
that this need for control, this desire to be at the center,
Mhm.
it might have alienated some people, fans, even teammates,
Like they admired his talent.
but questioned his commitment to the team.
Right. That need for control, maybe it was a strength that became a weakness?
It's possible. And then, of course, there's Messi.
You can't talk about Ronaldo without talking about Messi.
A rivalry for the ages. They pushed each other to be better.
In the book, how do they compare them?
They contrast their personalities.
Mhm.
You know, Ronaldo, he embraces the spotlight, the showmanship. Messi's more reserved.
Two sides of the same coin.
Exactly. And on the pitch, they fueled each other.
But for Ronaldo, always being
It must have been
concerned,
intense.
especially to someone like Messi.
There's this story. Ronaldo introduces his son to Messi,
Okay.
and he admits his son's a big fan. It's small, but it shows you something.
What do you mean?
Here's Ronaldo at the top of his game, acknowledging his rival's greatness.
To his own son, even.
Yeah, almost a moment of vulnerability,
Like recognizing that there's someone who might be his equal.
or even surpass him.
It makes their rivalry that much more fascinating.
It does. That constant push and pull, it captivated the world.
And even though he left Real Madrid,
Their paths kept crossing,
their legacies are intertwined.
forever linked.
So his time at Real Madrid,
Yeah.
incredible success, records, trophies,
But also conflict.
that struggle to find his place.
In a system not built solely around him.
Exactly.
Like a complex chapter.
Triumphs, but also challenges.
It shaped him, no doubt.
As a player, as a person,
And that journey, with all its ups and downs, is what makes Ronaldo so compelling.
this deep dive has been incredible. We've seen the drive, the ambition, the talent that took him to the top,
But also the complexities, the struggles,
the price of
the
fame.
questions that linger.
It makes you think, what really drives him?
What keeps him going after achieving so much?
Is it love for the game or something more?
The need to conquer, To prove himself.
Maybe even to escape those insecurities.
It's a question worth pondering.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Cristiano Ronaldo.
It's been great.
We hope you've gained a new perspective on the man behind the legend.